Mind Hack. The New Science of Personal Development. By David Bayer. The perfect search engine. The human mind works like a search engine. It follows some algorithms and codes, and metaphorically speaking, the search queries are your struggles. The experiences you gain from those efforts are considered to be your search results. While using an ordinary search engine, you try other keywords and the outcomes change, but your mind does not work like this. You have procured some experiences that you didn't want, but that should not restrain you from striving. The search engines you use to browse and discover things are way easier than your brain, as it has to learn the process. You need to accept the mistakes you made during the learning period without getting exhausted. There is a famous saying, "You are what you think," which is true to the core. Your beliefs set your life, and you experience things according to them. Your belief system is what you experienced in the past. You enter a search query, and the result comes up as per your previous result. Everything you do is affected by your belief system. If you are an entrepreneur, the number one challenge you face is to have a firm faith in your vision. For instance, your mind comes up with a tremendous idea, and your belief system rejects the idea, considering it impossible. Therefore, being an entrepreneur, you have to separate your brilliant ideas from your belief system and decide what is better for you. To exercise your brain and grow as a human being, you need to focus on 4 habits. The first habit, the power of decision. Our beliefs are based on the experiences we have in our life. There are many self-created realities which you need to get rid of for ensuring success in life. Firstly, it requires you to consciously analyze the basis of your current belief. Once you acknowledge that it was based on false information, you get into the position of making decisions against it by replacing your existing false belief with a new one. It is this very decision that empowers you to set the behavioral patterns on which your future relies. If you replace it with something that you still cannot justify as right, you will remain stuck in a somewhat similar state. However, taking the right decision allows you to have a grip over your life instead of letting it be dictated by those beliefs. The decisions for replacing your behaviors with the positive and effective ones provide you with a total control over your life. All you need to do is to decide on the things you search. In this way, you can activate your decision power, which further works in the following ways. Your brain gets an access to relatively newer thoughts and ideas which you have introduced it to through taking such decisions. When you set new patterns in your brain, it starts working accordingly, thus, it experiences and adapts the newly suggested commands. Once you give decisions and the brain follows them, it starts building an alignment between the two, paving the way for manufacturing of the new experience in the brain. It further trains your brain to filter your decisions in the future, holding you back from being driven by the unconsciously followed beliefs. The change of your beliefs through conscious decisions allows you to change the behavioral structure by which your brain functions. That is what really gives you the power and control of your life. Our thoughts, even those carried out without much conscious effort, leave a great impact on our mind. Therefore, it is important to send positive commands to your brain with conscious decisions. That is how you can train it to work wonders for you by giving you complete control of the results you draw. The success model. The power of decision is the core principle for maximizing your energy. It is this energy that enables you to take control of your life with regard to the situations you have to deal with. So far, you have been unaware of making this energy work in your favor due to your unawareness about how you have been making decisions unconsciously. However, you can utilize it by aligning your conscious decisions with the conscious outcomes you draw. This further leads you to ensure the optimal performance as well. What differentiates the success model from the ordinary one is the sequence in which you train your brain to follow the process. The unconsciously carried process is, you make unconscious decisions based on your false beliefs at the first place, This naturally leads you to experience problems because it is based on fake beliefs. Your brain goes on to look for clarity with respect to problem but fails to do so as it is based on unconscious decisions. The brain further raises questions concerning what leads you to such situation. In response to those questions, it develops fear about the experiences you have just had. Resultantly, this fear holds you back every time you come across such context in your life. On the contrary, the success model leads you to better performance because it is based on consciously constructed model. It goes as under: you make conscious decisions which are based on well-tested and valid beliefs. This naturally leads you to create opportunities instead of falling into the problems, helping you develop an attitude to pay gratitude. In this way, you are clear about the outcomes you draw through your decisions. The natural questioning process of the brain in this context makes you ready for effective action. By this time, your confidence allows you to carry out the high performance. Resultantly, you take the actions which lead you to draw your desired outcomes. The second habit, the power of gratitude. Whether you are at a high-risk position or in any situation of life, if success is what you desire, your gratuitous nature can come in handy. This is precisely the reason why it is also the second habit of the Mind Hack success model. One trait that you might find common in all successful people is that how little they obsess about their problems. While they do take remedial measures to deal with the problem at hand, they don't fret about it more than ordinary, and imagine situations that could have been even worse. This humbles them down, gives them a sense of satisfaction even in their adverse circumstances. The fact is that the problems we face in our lives are just usual life situations. It is the meaning that we associate with them that makes them larger than life. Successful people try to empower the meanings of their situations through positive and good feelings. This enables them to remain motivated and energized to adequately combat and pass through the entire process of efficiently handling their adversities. The meaning in itself is nothing but a mere figment of your mind. However, it has a profound ability to be a definitive factor between success and failure. Like all aspects of life, a businessman too gets to experience different testing situations in their run as a risk taker. If dealt with the power of gratitude, you will find an immense untapped energy source within you to power the required creativity and ideas to break through those situations. What makes gratitude even more significant is that it signals the brain to receive more information similar to the one you have experienced. Biologically, the myelin sheaths of the neurosynaptic connection get thicker around that memory. This helps you in a way that if in future you come across a similar situation, you would feel better equipped mentally to effectively neutralize it. This is so because subconsciously, your brain continuously tries to gather resources and people helpful for the gratuitous of memory of yours. It is your responsibility to train your brain in a way that every time it is faced with a problem, it sees the silver lining in it rather than being overwhelmed by it. A key factor that can earn you this power over your brain is the clarity of thoughts, something we discuss in detail as we move ahead. The third habit, the power of clarity. The amazing fact about your brain is that when it has clarity over what you desire, it moves its entire faculty not only searching for that factor, but also collects or at least suggests useful resources for it. The first step in moving your brain in this direction is that to be absolutely clear and precise about what you desire. If you carry confusions in terms of what your end goal is, you will accordingly receive only a mixed help from your brain to get there. Therefore, clarity is the foremost factor in any planning process. The process starts with aligning your conscious and unconscious intentions. When that's done, you will come across a sustained source of energy emanating from the clear sight of the ultimate goal. If, however, your goals are blurred, there will be a fear of unknown, which may further lead to stress and anxiety. The clarity primarily provides you an answer to the question of how when it comes to achieving your goals. Clarity is also important because it bases itself on how you perceive a situation rather your actual surroundings. If you perceive a situation manageable, your brain will ease up on a stressful situation and focus its energies in finding the solutions rather than obsessing over the problem. This one factor will lay out the entire path for you in such transparency that they would seem lifelike. This phenomenon is called new frequency and acts as a vantage point, which eventually helps in collecting new ideas and resources required for the job. In that regard, clarity is an essential element for success, be it your entrepreneurial career or any other instance of life. The fourth habit, the power of questions. As mentioned earlier, our brain functions like a search engine. If left unattended, it has the tendency to start searching things that appear on their own. Questions like, is the decision I am making the correct one? What if all my plans fail? Why do I even bother planning when everything ends up in failure? Questions like these are fired in every direction within our brains. Our mind has a huge storage capacity. It is 250 times the size of the Library of Congress. Every experience that an individual goes through is detailed within the neurosynaptic connections in one's brain. It is so powerful that it can bring a teeny tiny detail from one's past as an answer to a question. The most successful people in the world know how to recapture the questioning process within their minds. They, knowingly, ask questions that give way to productive ideas and constructive thoughts. Entrepreneurs and achievers often move into the action without any mental clarity on what they actually want. People tend to go after fantastical aspects, completely ignoring the confusion that is within the inner world. At times, the prime reason of failure is the chaotic state within one's mind. When one achieves mental clarity, then everything else starts being more effective too. In an ideal action plan, the plan comes as a result of consciously constructing questions that are in alignment with the outcome of your action in the greatest manner possible. In a lot of cases, people respond immediately to the anxiety and pressure created by the questions and end up doing something that is damaging to the cause. This is called a reaction plan. The antidote to this only lies in building a clear action plan. Deconstructing fear, hacking fear of failure. Fear can be described as forgetting everything about reality. Whenever the emotion of fear is experienced, people tend to get extremely anxious and worried. However, when that has passed, one can look back and see how the actual results were in fact totally different than what was originally feared. What people often perceive as failure is actually not what it is made out to be. When an action is taken from a place of right direction, with the right kind of questions, clarity, and gratitude, it isn't a failure even if the outcome is not what was desired, rather it's something miraculous. This can be divided into 4 types. Blessing number 1: learning. The first blessing is that whatever is being perceived as failure is actually learning. Life is teaching an individual a lesson, a little one, to help them achieve the long-term vision. Blessing number 2: redirection. People often overlook that what they think is failure is actually redirection. An individual is being redirected, their focus is being shifted from one relationship to another, from one place to a different one, from one job to another job, and everything is being shifted in a positive manner. Blessing number 3: reflection. If people exist in a system that is paving pathways for them, then there has to be a meaning to everything that is happening. What is termed as failure is actually a tremendous experience. If life is a search engine, bringing you different results, then it's a matter of putting in the right keywords. It's about understanding that anything that appears as failure is basically a revelation. Blessing number 4: the setup. People are always being set up by their own selves. The higher consciousness that does not get into the physical body is in the constant process of guiding us. This part of us knows exactly what is needed in the present, so that we could be successful in the future. When one truly realizes that life is always working in their favor, that's when one can take inspired action. That's when one understands that there is no such thing as failure. Life should be embraced. It should be understood that indecision is the only wrong decision, and everything happens for a reason. what we learned. What was the core message that we got from this book? 1. Being an entrepreneur, you have to separate your brilliant ideas from your belief system and decide what is better for you. 2. Our thoughts, even those carried out without much conscious effort, leave a profound impact on our mind. 3. Irrespective of what position you are at in your life, if success is what you desire, your gratuitous nature can come in handy. 4. A trait that is common in all successful people is how little they obsess about their problems. 5. Gratitude signals the brain to receive more information similar to your positive experience. 6. It is your responsibility to train your brain in a way that every time it is faced with a problem, it sees the silver lining in it rather than being overwhelmed. 7. If you carry confusions in terms of what your end goal is, you will accordingly receive only a mixed help from your brain to get there. 8. The most successful people knowingly ask questions that give way to productive ideas and constructive thoughts. 9. With the right direction, questions, clarity and gratitude, even an adverse outcome is not a failure. 10. It should be understood that indecision is the only wrong decision, and everything happens for a reason.